Hello everybody. Making this little video full of the cold, unfortunately. At least I can't spread it on YouTube. That's one thing for sure. I'm messing around in the shack about today, a bit knackered because I've got the cold, but I just thought I'd come out and do something rather than feeling sorry for myself indoors. So I've mounted a little touchscreen I got from Alan GM3MWX, I believe, yes, GM3MWX, and we've got a ham clock running on that now. We've got a 12 volt system in the shed, of course, that comes from my solar panels, and I took a connection from my 12 volt socket through a buck converter to give me 5.1 volts. That's sitting in behind the false part of the wall here. There's a power off switch. You can't power it off just like that. You have to shut it down, but that kills the power to the buck converter and also allows you to bring it back on. It being a touch screen, it's fine, so that can run as long as it likes, to be honest with you. The current consumption is low. The other thing is my Wires X monitor here, and this is off my SDR Play RSP DX version 2, which is sitting in behind this nice old radio, and a Surface Pro. Probably won't continue using the Surface Pro for this, might do it some other way. I've had an awful trouble with the SDR Connect. It's really not an intuitive, how can I put it, program. I've lost the center section of it where you put in your upper sideband, lower sideband, etc. That's disappeared, can't find it, can't get it back. Done everything, reinstalled the program, and it's still the same. Obviously it's files, etc. that are not taken out when you uninstall excuse me, a program. So I'm using SDR Uno at the moment. It seems to work quite well, and I'm feeding the wide IF output from this Yaesu FT902DM into it now. The older radios are actually much easier to connect up things like outputs from the IF, etc. So this is the wide IF output, and it's feeding into the SDR Play. So I've basically got a waterfall and I've got a band scope, which is handy for seeing strong signals. Dead easy to do on the likes of this. Much more difficult to do on a 991 because you've got to do the modifications to the board, etc. To do that. So it's quite excuse me. So it's actually quite nice on the big screen. But it's I don't really particularly want to keep running this on a useful Surface Pro and use that for other things. So some kind of small PC would be ideal for this, and it would be obviously hidden in behind here, etc. This radio does need a little bit of attention. The power output disappeared, had no RF output from it. So I've got a couple of 6146s, but I think I've got HT, etc. No cathode current whatsoever, so I'm beginning to wonder if the screen volts have disappeared. So we'll get a wee look at some point when I feel a bit better, open it up and have a wee poke about inside, see where the problem lies. Nice and easy things to fix. I like valve technology, been doing it for years and years and years, long time. So very familiar with the way they work. So there's one or two little things I've been doing out here. Under there is my FTM 300 that I use for Wires X. I've got a Yaesu SP102 speaker. Inside that there's one of the HP power supplies modified for 13.8 volts to run that. A laser engraver sitting there, which I've done some work with. I have to put it up on the bench, but the bench is usually quite tidy, but today it's very untidy because I've been doing other things. And this is the little bias T that I use for my loop, receiving loop. I do have a little issue with it. It works very well on the higher frequencies. In fact, it works quite well up to band 2 FM broadcast with considerable gain on it when I switch it on. But I think I have used the wrong mix for the toroid. It's not so great on 40 or 80. It drops quite a bit on those frequencies. So I think we need to substitute that for the correct one. I didn't know what mix it was, to be fair, when I was winding the coil there. But yeah, we can get into that some other time. So that's another job that it's neat tidied up, as you can see. I just thought I'd show you a wee bit of my shack. My power supply there runs my Quicko soldering iron, 24 volts, and I've got two switches here. One comes from the end fed halfway, the other one comes from modded silver rod, and the excuse me, and at the moment normally I would run the 991A that I use for HF, switch to this point, but in this case it's actually switched over just for temporary running into this 902. This is a feed that goes into the house that would normally go in there, so as I can use my 857 indoors for HF if I feel so inclined. And a little BHI speaker, Mark IV, so it's quite good for reducing noise. I would say it's better than the inbuilt noise reduction in the 991 and on here. But I'll give you a little demonstration. This is it decoding at the minute. Well, sorry, not decoding. This is the band scope. Turn the volume up on the Surface Pro. We're going to lose him, I think. Now, you probably noticed that the quality of the audio is actually better off the radio than it is off this setup I've got here. Okay, the Surface Pro's got small speakers, but I have to say that when you adjust the width and the reject button on the 902, it's actually pretty decently quiet. It's not bad. Whereas even if you set the filters on the SDR Uno, it doesn't really come close to the way the radio works. And I often wonder, with all the noise reduction stuff we have these days, if we're really getting such an improvement as we think we are. The old radios, I'm afraid, in my opinion, were far better than the new ones. But that's an opinion of mine. I could be wrong. Each to their own, as they say. I think that's the way we talk about it. But the advantage of it is we have the band scope.
You can feel like you were in go home, please. Is designed for earthworks between 10 and 12 meters.
Now I can turn it back up here.
Running with now. The antenna I'm using now, I did it.
So that's from this. We'll reduce the volume and we'll bring up the radio again.
Diamond shooting. Wire diamond shooting.
In my opinion, there's no contest. But there we go. Anyway, that's enough of a wee quick shack tour. Still got plenty more things that I'd like to do out here, including tidying cables, more trunking, etc, etc, and making the place a bit more tidy as well. But there you go, guys. That's my Radio Shack. Thought you might like to see it. Okay, take care, everybody. Mike 0 Kilo Juliet, wishing everybody best 73.